Dvinge, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, thank you. Thank you so much for that introduction, Andrew. I'm going to have to try and lower my voice. I'm used to teaching, so I can project. I could probably not, but I know I need the microphone for the cameras. So let me just move around here, see what's happening. We're trying to get a PowerPoint started. If it won't, I'll do it interpretive dance. Yeah? Because it's not like I'm going to be showing anything really fancy and beautiful in terms of I have a bit of a video clip, but I can do interpretive dance on that one too, if you want me to. No, actually, you don't want me to. So, yes, as Andrew said, I come out of academia. It died. It's fine. Being in academia is sort of one of those things where you get to be super geeky and you get paid to be super geeky, and that's wonderful. But then if you're very, very geeky, then it's kind of hard to get into the sort of more established and land a proper job. So you keep jumping from project to project and ice flake to ice flake. And at one point, I just got tired of constantly looking for the next ice flake to come floating by. The other thing that also was about being in academia is that then you write an academic article, and they're great for thinking with, but 10 people read them. And I wanted to do something that perhaps moved a little further from that. But before I start talking about lo-fi, I kind of want to just think with you guys for a bit about music. And the first thing that I want to think with you about is what I call or we can talk about the value of music. So just a quick count here. How many musicians, how many is trying to make a living as musicians in here? Hands. Just 1, 2-ish. Do you play gigs, live gigs, ever? Yeah, cool. Have you ever had those situations where you were asked to play a gig and they said, well, we can't really pay you, but you get great exposure? Yeah. It's interesting, though, because from 2006 to 2013, the revenue of live music globally went up by 41%. Yes? That's a lot of money. And record sales, revenue on recorded music has been dropping. Of course, TJ is going to change that, we now know. But so dwindling sort of revenue from recorded music and quite steep rise in revenue from live music. However, of those wonderful, it's like $30 billion we're talking here, yeah? In 11. It's a lot of money. Of those $30 billion, it's just the top 5% of performers who make 90% of that revenue. All right? So that means that the last 10% needs to get spread out on the rest 95%. And reading and finding out those numbers, I started thinking about if there was a way that we could create another avenue and another model that was more sustainable for those 95%. Again, TJ, and I think a lot of the things that we've been seeing and hearing here today really takes a big step towards solving that. But so that's my first challenge. How can we think of a way to create sort of something that's a little more financially sustainable for a larger group of people? The other thing that I like to think about, and I've been thinking about this throughout my research. Never mind a PowerPoint, it's all right. Yeah. All right, okay. Anyway, so the other thing that I've been thinking about is the power of music. Yeah? So we have the value of music on one hand, and then we have the power of music on the other hand. So as Dubba was saying, I got paid for 4 years to go to jazz festivals around the world. Awesome gig. And I spent a lot of time looking at performance situations, what works, what doesn't. And I got very interested in formats for live music. I'm not a singular. I don't only listen to jazz. I'm pretty sort of eclectic, to put it mildly, in my music taste. But I got very curious about formats, and one thing that I was particularly interested in was what happens when you put live music into spaces that aren't necessarily built for live music, or because concert halls and clubs, the physical setting alone tells us how to behave with that music. Yeah, it sets certain rules for how we behave around music. And what I find really interesting is what happens when those rules get broken, either when the music breaks the rules of the room or the room offers new rules to the music. So one of the formats that has really been interesting me, and that I've actually been producing concerts in this format for a bit now, is the living room concert, the house concert. And why is that an interesting format? Every time I do it, every time I produce a concert, people come up to me afterwards and say, that was the most amazing thing. That was such a fantastic experience. Has any of you been to like a house concert, living room concert? Yeah? What's amazing about it? Somebody, just the intimacy. What I think happens about the living room concert is that the living room is a very intimate space. It's the kind of space where you come in, you take your shoes off, you put your feet up, yeah? You drop your guard. So when you put music into that space, you have your guard down. And suddenly, that music can affect you in a completely different way. It also, there's no, like, bar, and people talking loudly in the bar. Everybody's always paying attention, because it's really rude to sit here and the musician is there and then you're like on your phone, yeah? So it's always very quiet and very intense, and people are really paying attention. So I was falling in love with this format. And there's a couple of different organizations and businesses doing house concerts. But I wanted to do something that perhaps could be quite democratic. So I came up with the idea for lo-fi. And lo-fi is, very simply put, a peer-to-peer marketplace for house concerts. If we put it even simpler, we could call it Airbnb for house concerts. So the bands have listings. All right. Bands have listings, and you can go search for them based on genre, price, location. And then you can book a band, and you can either create a private concert, a private event, or, and I'm trying to nudge my users towards this, a shared event. Because I want to have that moment of co-creation and shared experiences. And also with people you don't really know. I'd like people to invite strangers into their living rooms. And as a fan, you can go and search for those concerts on the site as well. So once you create an event, you can sell tickets for the event through the site as well. So it's super simple. Here we go, fantastic. So I'm just going to flip through the, if I can get it to change, which I can't. Maybe it's this, yes. Wonderful. There we go, right. So some sort of cultural and economically sustainable model, where bands can earn money and build a fan base, and hosts can bring those bands to their house and create shared or private events, and fans can experience music in this amazing setting and also get to support artists directly. Yeah? So it's here, actually. It's in closed beta. This is the non-tech founders' solution to a tech issue. ShareTribe, I don't know if anybody know it, but it's basically a white label platform, a bit like WordPress is for blogging. It's a CMS for peer-to-peer marketplaces. And the beautiful thing about them is that it's responsive as well, so you can use it on your phone. It's closed beta, and I'm only for now in Denmark. You can actually sign up if you, but let me know if you want to sign up. And then it's a subscription-based thing, But ShareTribe is all about sharing. So they're open source, and they got their whole API sitting on GitHub. So I forked that, and I'm going to be having my developer working on it. But right now, I actually just want to know what works and what doesn't before I start having my developer do a lot of tweaks and work on it. I'm not sure. So you know what? I think time-wise, I'm about up on my 12 minutes. And so I'm just going to not say that much more, except just give you like a brief taste. And I don't know if it's, let's see if this works. I hope it does. Andrew wants me to talk more. I don't know. What should we talk about then? I do have a video, but it's like a minute and a half, yeah? No, it's in the presentation. It won't be. No. Then actually, yes, I do have it online. There is a bit. Then I could go onto the blog. And there's something, and it's not going to be. I've made it nicer than what it is on the blog, but you'll get the idea. Cool. Let's see what happens. Yes, that's me. Blog. There we go. Customer research intern, anybody? And how do I? Here we go. Inaugural lo-fi concert. There we go. There's no sound, people. All right, one sec. Oh, the other way. Yeah.
One day you saw yourself another way. You had to start all over again.
Sorry about that. All right. Thank you. If there's any questions or comments, you're more than welcome to shoot. Things you want to know. No? I'm used to this. I used to teach for 10 years, so you can just ask me about anything, and I'll bullshit if I don't know the answer. Yeah? That's a really good question, actually. There seems to be, interestingly enough, in sort of in China, there's a new market for music that seems to come about. Sort of, there's a new middle class coming up in China. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I have. This is hopefully going to go global. And I'm fortunate enough to have connections and network that reaches the East, Asia in particular. So we'll see what happens when we start moving out there. I've got a couple of super promoters out there that's going to try and help me push it once we get to that. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yes? Yeah. Yes? Yes. No, and I mean, what would be wonderful here is if we could create a network of hosts that spans the globe, and musicians could go touring through lo-fi. Yeah. I also really want to get the people who use lo-fi to contribute content to the blog. So the idea is to create a way for them to send in their stories, their reviews, their videos, their photographs, and we'll do like a little gamification of that, so that there's a sweepstake or a prize for the best part, or people get to vote for the best story of the month, or the best review, or the best video clip for the month. It's going to be, of course, peer reviewed, so musicians will sort of also get feedback from the users, and hosts also can get feedback from the musicians, because maybe you're a new host, you don't quite know how to do it, or maybe you're like a smashing host and everybody wants to play a gig with that particular house. Yeah. So I really am hoping that we can create something where people can meet each other, share music in that setting where music becomes the most important thing. Yeah. So thank you.